I have loved Elisa Donovan for the last 20 years or so, so when I discovered Eve's Christmas, I jumped at the chance of watching it, particularly because I'm a big fan of this kind of light, fluffy Christmas film. But the narrative for this is even more exciting. This was released in 2004, the same year that Sabrina ended, or the year after. But obviously, Elisa Donovan still very much looks like Morgan Kavan in here. That's something that made me very happy because it kind of took me back to my childhood while still giving me a fresh story. Directed by Timothy Bond, written by Jeffrey Schenck and Peter Sullivan. And Elisa Donovan plays a character called Eve, not the most creative of names, but Eve is not particularly happy with her life, and she's contemplating the fact that this was because of a decision she made 8 years ago. And she decides that if she had the chance to go back in time, she would. She wishes on a Christmas star, and the next morning she wakes up in her childhood bedroom. And everything is just as she remembered it. Nobody else is aware that she's not who she was. She's treated as if she had just woken up that morning in her childhood bedroom. Nobody questions why her fashion is different, but they do kind of look at her peculiarly when she orders a gin and tonic, a drink that she wouldn't have drunk 8 years ago. She asks for a very particular, complicated latte drink, which wouldn't have been a thing 8 years previously. And I really like that they did that. It's not just her attitudes that would be different, but certain ways in which she looks at the world. And I think that was just a nice little touch. So she has this chance to have a do-over, to reevaluate the decisions she made at the time. And I won't say what those decisions were, or of course what the conclusion is and how it concludes itself, but I will say it was very enjoyable, very convincing. I think she freaked out a suitable amount. Often with films like this, the protagonist will kind of question why they're in the past and then just get on with it. But she kind of constantly had this reality check, or unreality check, I guess. And I think that worked really well. I really liked her attitude. I really liked the way the narrative developed. There was one decision that I thought was unrealistic, which I will discuss in a moment. But ultimately, I thought it was really good, quite festive, ticked all of the right boxes, and I can't complain. The one thing that I thought was a weird thing, and this is a spoiler, so I've stopped discussing all of the non-spoiler things, just one thing really quickly. At the end, when she decides to set up the online bookstore, first of all, she's just basically created eBay, because auctioning wasn't, even though eBay existed back then, obviously it wasn't a big thing. She just basically created it on a mass production. But also, I'm not sure if it would have been that easy to build a website with payment software installed if it wasn't really something that was readily available. I'm overthinking it, I know this, but it made me question that. But aside from that, really lovely film. Eve's Christmas is one I'm very happy to recommend.